Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day. We're taking a look, of course, at Terra Classic once more, helping you understand best practice and big picture. So, what we're going to look at, of course, is this candle wick down, so key level supports, potential resistance areas, and kind of see how much further this could go, because it does look like it wants to continue higher. We got a really awesome doji candle forming here on the daily. So that being said, not a financial advisor, love teaching people to trade. If you do want to become a better trader, please reference my website, cryptocash.tech, to consider registering and locking in your rate. And I say that because first of the year, rates will be increasing based on just the whole demand curve, if you will. And what we're looking at is Crypto Cash Trading Academy, Community, and Signal Group. It's kind of an all-in-one, essentially. Really awesome opportunity for you to be able to become a better trader. We've got a crazy awesome community here that's just taking massive profits. We all learn and grow together. And I'm super proud of these guys. I mean, look at this. First of all, they're using Bitget Exchange, which is by far my favorite. Highly recommend using that. And more important though, they're using very smart plays here. They're using very good risk tolerance, and these are all things that I teach in my trading academy. So couldn't be happier for my graduates. You guys are fantastic. Keep up the great work. And just to touch on this as well, just so you know, this bonus is only available up until November 30th. But if you register with Bitget and use them as your primary exchange, you'll see that you'll be able to receive a healthy amount of USDT when you register with my link. So again, cryptocash.tech is a site, link in the description below, but more importantly, right next to that is the Bitget link as well. And they're just a fantastic exchange. They have excellent liquidity. Their level 2 data is phenomenal, and it's just one of those amazing experiences, in my personal opinion, tremendously better than Bybit and KuCoin. Very user-friendly, and just you don't have to use that Google Authenticator. it's a smooth process. Just use your fingerprint and you're all set and good to go. All right, so here's where we're at with Terra Classic. The thing I want to kind of highlight is today's candlestick so far. Again, it's a little premature. Candlestick hasn't closed, but we can see that we are forming somewhat of a dragonfly doji. Now, this isn't exact. Of course, dragonflies are typically supposed to be a little bit higher, but generally speaking, at this point, this is a very positive sign, kind of telling us we have this hammer up, so to speak. It could be considered a hammer up, and what that just tells us is that the price yesterday closed at this point and opened, and it's going to close today likely really close to where it opened, if not higher. And that's a very positive sign, kind of telling us that in that amount of time, the bears were unable to take control. We can see this Fibonacci retracement level that I mentioned yesterday, day before yesterday, that 28,000 is a strong support. We can see that tested yesterday and then, of course, broke, but resurged itself. Okay, so fantastic to see this. I think a closure today above 28,000, we're going to be in good shape to see a continuation to the upside here. And I think this is likely just the beginning of a nice, strong turnaround. And you can kind of see a reverse action here. Do you see kind of how this candle formed up here previously? And it came back down? Well, we have an inverse version of that where the candle is essentially going the opposite direction, telling us there's more likelihood for an upside. Granted, this candlestick hasn't closed yet, just keep that in mind, but we are looking pretty good. We're also still above 50 on the RSI. I don't know how, but we still are, and that's a very positive thing. And then, of course, our MACD is diverging still, but it looks like it's moving fairly slow. Okay, so again, for the most part, we have some conflicting information, but generally speaking, that's a positive. We can also see the 50-day simple moving average, as I mentioned before, is working its way up. Concurrent with this trend line is essentially holding the price action in place as well. Okay, so more positive than any negative that we can see here. Okay, so daily looks good. Let's take a quick look at the 4-hour TD sequential. We're at a 7. So hypothetically, we've got 2 more 4-hour candlesticks, basically 8 more hours of continuation to the downside. That is potential. Not saying it's going to happen, but there's still that fact. We're under 50 on the RSI on the 4 hours, so that's not great, kind of telling us that we are below resistance, which obviously we saw the resistance level tested at 30,000. Or sorry, correction, it's 31,000. So, we got this range of 28 to 31,000 that we're working within, so there's a strong likelihood we're going to be range bound for a little while until we either break up or down. Okay, so until that happens, I would say it makes more sense to long right now than to short based on what we've seen so far. All right, so we're looking good there. So take a look at the 1 hour here. We can go ahead and see with the Ichimoku cloud, the lagging span is soon to intersect with the price action. So if you have a short open, you may want to consider closing it. The conversion line is already above the baseline. That should be the first indication, because either the lagging span or the conversion line, whichever one happens first, is your cue to go ahead and sell your position if you're going the opposite direction. Okay, so in this case, conversion lines, essentially crossing in an upward fashion. That's kind of a MACD convergence or a golden cross, you could say, and that's telling us that the likelihood of further upside is higher. You do have to keep in mind, though, on TD sequential, we have somewhat of an overextension here recently. We hit a 5, we came down to a 6, so we're not hitting like these full-on 9s. even though we did hit 9, of course, and continued lower, we're not seeing a lot of those here for Terra Classic, which is kind of good. It's not over-exhausting itself by any stretch. Okay, but key takeaway here is we're still underneath the cloud. We don't have confirmation for a long position, so I'm not saying you want to take one. But based on what we've seen so far here, the likelihood of further upside is greater than potential for downside. Okay, so I like what I see here. I think everything's looking fantastic. Ultimately, I would be more comfortable taking a long right now than I would be a short, just based on the overall sense of things. But I would like to wait for the candlestick to close closer to its open. And if it were to do that, that would be a pretty good sign that we're going to likely see further upside from there. So I would say just be patient, but the likelihood of an upside, I would say, is at least 60-70% probability versus downside, which is 30 to 40%. So again, when you're doing technical analysis, it's all about statistical probabilities. We're just trying to figure out the likelihood of whichever direction it's going to head. And there's never 100%, but if you can kind of build a case that it's going to be more likely to increase than decrease, I think that's a positive sign there. Okay, so I would say hold on, or we should be in good shape here. Again, pending Bitcoin doesn't go down any further. But keep this in mind, I just covered Bitcoin, and I am expecting Bitcoin to increase in the relative near future, especially between now and, I think it's day after tomorrow, or perhaps even tomorrow for the CPI data release. We want to make sure to prepare for that, and leading into it, I think that we're probably going to see more green than red. That's just a speculation, but it's looking more like we're going to see a recovery here in the near future. All right, so that's all I got for you there. Another quick video here. Hopefully you made it nice and short and concise. Hope you learned something here today, of course. Again, register with Bitget. Use my link in the description below. Make sure you're using their exchange. Fantastic exchange, guaranteed benefit, okay? Furthermore, make sure you want to become a community member. CryptoCash.tech is a site. Lock in your rate before the year's over. I look forward to working with you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.